On to needed delivery details. The story I have is one of our clients that sells a lab device asked us to use a common carrier such as ABF, FedEx, and UPS to deliver to their client because it was the least inexpensive. They provided us with a contact name, a phone number, but no alternate contact. When the driver arrived, he asked for the contact, but he was not on site. The person he was speaking to didn't know anything about the delivery, and the driver was anxious to move on as he had additional deliveries to make. He was instructed to leave the device outdoors in the parking lot. The device weighs more than 1,000 pounds. It's very large, so it cannot easily be moved. Unfortunately, the recipient had no way to bring it inside, so they called our client. Our client was extremely upset. They called us. Fortunately, we were able to get our local carriage agent to send in 2 men in a truck to load it in their truck and deliver it to the correct location. Some things to remember, the least expensive option isn't always the best. Don't forget that a small detail like accurate contact names is important. Have a process in place to ensure you receive the information needed for a successful delivery. Some additional things that you can do to avoid this type of fiasco. Obtain a main and secondary contact who is familiar with the building's shipping and receiving procedures. Often the person approving the PO will not be the right contact for delivery. Be sure to ask about their receiving hours, find out if the building has a loading dock, and get very specific instructions if inside delivery is needed. An example of this would be enter through the loading dock, take the freight elevator to the 3rd floor, proceed down the hallway, and deliver to the lab, which is the 4th door on the right. We've had a number of different clients that will just request inside delivery. They can get to a university, they can get to a hospital, and without really specific instructions or someone to escort the driver to the location where it needs to be delivered, the shipment could just end up at the loading dock, which ultimately ends up in a not a great client experience.
And some other takeaways in regards to the specific deliveries have to do with time commitments. So, if an engineer or somebody is meeting up with the equipment, they're often, have meetings in the morning, and first the guaranteed time through UPS FedEx is 10:30. So what we do to make sure that shipments aren't missed is we might get it delivered in the day before, and your freight carrier could do that as well. Get them delivered the day before, have it sitting there. That way they can just drive it directly to the final location and get it there at a very specific time. So we're very used to working with the med device companies that require very specific meetup times and very specific deliveries, inside deliveries.
And in addition to what Peggy had just alluded to, it's even more important now than ever to try to plan ahead. There's a driver shortage across the United States, which is increasing transit times. So what we'll do more often than not is we'll suggest to our clients to give us as much lead time as possible so we can pick it up, get it to our local agent. For example, it could be going to New York. We would drive it from Boston to New York, have it sit at our agent's warehouse for a day or two, and then deliver on the specific day at the specific time when it needs to be delivered. We've found that we've had a lot of success with that.
And the other part here is to make sure you have the process as a company to get the information from your sales team who's selling the device to your shipping carrier, ultimately to the driver who's going to be making the final delivery. We kind of think about it as like a game of telephone where there's some information that your salesperson gets from the customer. That's got to go back to your operations team. That's got to go to your shipping partner. That's got to go to a dispatcher and then out to the final driver. So it's really important that you have the right processes to know what the needed delivery details are. Something like an alternate point of contact might not seem like a big deal to your salesperson who's out there selling the device. But if the primary contact is sick or out of the office, you're going to have some sort of shipping fiasco when the driver can't meet up with the person who's supposed to be there to receive it. So it's really important to understand from the driver's point of view, you know, they arrive, they've got another delivery they have to make. They've got to be able to meet up with somebody there. They're going to call the primary. They're going to call the alternate. Those have to be people that they can reach who are actually on site that they can meet up with.
And extended fields can often be added, within a CRM or whatever program that you might be using to make sure all of these small but vital details are included. And a lot of times that does start right from the sales process.